Yeah, this is my friend Joyce. I don't know. Can you see her down or sideways?
I saw her. I did. I saw
Yeah,
her. Hello,
Yeah,
Joyce.
her
amazing.
and I went through a lot of rabbit holes and cognitive dissonance in 2020.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Sounds
we
like
found
fun.
each other.
So you guys have been tag teaming it the way that Chantel and I have?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic. Well, in
Joyce
terms,
had a good story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in if you're comfortable, Joyce, in sharing that story as part of the summit today, I don't know how many people are actually going to show up today. So, and Jackie's supposed to be here, but like there's only just the four of us at this point. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what story are you thinking that is such a good story, Elise?
When you first got started into it, your first notice you did the oath, and then you sent your first notice to
Oh,
the.
that story. Yeah. Well, that just kind of shakes you like right to your boots, I tell you. So, I saw I joined PLD group in May of 2020. And then I really wanted to study and make sure that that's the course I wanted to go. And then I made my choice that I was going to, do my oath and take my lawful standing in August. So I did all that, and the day that I had mailed my notices off, my lawful standings to the cops and courts. And so I talked to Elise that day and I said, like, have you ever heard back from anybody? Oh no, she said, I haven't heard back from anybody. But the very next day, I ended up getting a voicemail from our local RCMP sergeant here. And I kind of knew him from, different things in the community that I worked with him with different things. And he left me a voicemail the very next day about the interesting packets he was receiving in the mail. And so, yeah, it's kind of shook me because Elise said like, oh, no, nobody's contacted me. And of course, my very first notice, I get contacted. So yeah, that's my story of being shooken right to your boots the very first, right at the get-go.
It's funny to add to that one is the next day, like she phoned me the night before to say, do you ever hear anything from the police or nothing? No, nothing. So she's at my house and we're doing canning. And lo and behold, I get a phone call and it says, what's the message? Unknown caller. So I said, I don't pick those up anyways. And lo and behold, she goes home, listens to a message, calls me back, and I'm going, what if I got a message? So I go and I listen and I got a message too. So here we are, Jackie. And she says, just send a letter with the next notice telling them that all the information they need is in the notices and to keep reading. Yeah. So there you go. And I found one that David Robinson had written. So it's about 3 pages. I cut it off to 2 pages, included that with the number 4 notice is what I was at. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Yep. We stick together.
Well, we really have to. And it's just, I feel like there's just so much uncertainty in the people that don't know what the process is, and everything's laid out very clearly. And so have to just go through it. But then, when you're talking to people and they're saying it's not, there's other ones and that are just contesting it, just gaining that surety within ourselves. Like you started in May and then decided in August. So, you gave yourself that time to be able to get familiar with the idea and make the decision responsibly. I kind of jumped more in faster and just kind of, yeah, like let's just have these summits and figure it out as we go. And it's just like, I really need to do a lot more reading.
Thanks for doing the summits.
Well, it's my pleasure and glad to be able to gather people.
Once you start a routine, it's easier to remember which week is on, and those who can't can do the replay.
Yeah.
So this way we've got something set, but we definitely could work with things like doing the oath and then doing the first notice. But again, it's all the same though. It's always the same. You take the oath, you're breaking the contract of what was to the, admiral law to constitutional law. And once Article 6 has been invoked, you either obey it or you disobey it. You either stand lawfully or you're aiding and abetting the regime. It's pretty cut and dry, pretty easy.
Hmm.
That made me decide to do it right away. That's why I thought I could unoath it, but you can't.
So
Once you go,
Elise
you're
was very much like you, Laura.
yeah. I just jumped in because I knew there was something. And once I read the part that said that once Article 61 has been invoked, the people need to stand behind it. And then you're supposed to, like basically we depose the queen, we depose the governments, and we're supposed to take, you know, castles, buildings, land, do whatever you need to do
Hmm.
to get redress. And we haven't done that because for 18 years, basically in Canada, it was hidden from us.
Hmm.
So Jackie brought it back. She went and studied everything she could so she could bring it back to the Canadian people. Yeah. So definitely you're either on the right side of the law or you are aiding and abetting the regime. That's pretty easy to decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the fence on this one, you better get off the fence.
Yeah. And
Side.
so in terms of the people that listen to this and then they hear about you're either aiding and abetting or you're standing lawfully, what is the consequence of aiding and abetting?
Wow, take a look what's going on right now. It's by doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So by if you're aiding and abetting, that means you're listening to the government with all their acts and statutes and everything else. So when you are standing lawfully, there are no acts and statutes. They're null and void right now. The only law throughout the realm is Article 61, the treason clause. So we're supposed to stand under oath and then declare our standing, collect the evidence, and then pursue from there. So it's nothing like, oh, well, I'll see what happens. And, I'm scared. Well, who isn't scared? Like what's coming out there? You should be petrified, if anything.
Well,
Petrified.
the double masking on children?
Well, you know what? That's aiding and abetting the regime.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
People need to be held responsible for their choice to participate. And we've created a culture that makes it so that people are sold out because they've bought so much stuff, they're in debt. And Canada is one of the most indebted countries in the world in terms of the populace.
Yeah, they purposely did that to the people. We fell for it. We went bigger home, bigger house, education, go in debt, our children get the best. Unfortunately, they knew how to do it, and our ignorance is what they preyed on. And it seems to have worked, but now it's more like payback time because we're not too happy on what they've done. We're holding them accountable, right? We stand under oath now, so we know the difference. Yeah, don't have to be mad, just do something about it.
Absolutely. And so I've had people say, after redress comes about and we are all standing under Article 61 and calling for redress and we've, taken over what needs to be retaken, then what? In terms of if everyone's already that's involved with government is aiding and abetting treason.
Not everybody.
Not everyone.
Yeah, not everybody, but some of them, like they have a job, I guess. But the majority is on our side, we'll say. Just the ones that are bad right now seem to be showing more. Yeah, but we do have, once the redress comes, then we're going to have to start learning some stuff again, right? So everything is set up already. It's just been usurped for the darker side. The evil took over, but everything that we needed, we have a justice system that's all set up already. That's good. We have the money that's going to be, I don't know what they call it, but it's the old money where Jackie knows it and she talks about it, and it's about having gold or silver inside the dollar itself. So we need to do that, and then we should be able to get a loan without paying interest. It's the interest that's getting the people. Yeah, so it's relearning what we had, and it's quite the journey. Like when you look at it, it was a beautiful system. We're going to get it back. That's what we're working for. Yep. So definitely the law is only as good as what you know. So definitely a lot of reading is involved in it. When I first started, I didn't want to meet anybody. I was mumbling to myself, mumbling to other people. And now there's a couple of things I know. Article 61, Magna Carta 1215, invoked March 23rd, 2001. I know my constitution, my card, most of it by heart. So yeah, we need to learn a few things. And once we know it, assert the law. We're on the right side. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to say about that.
There's no question we're doing our best to do the right thing, and we're showing up. And Megan, welcome. It's great to see you today as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't get a good signal. I'm on a boat, so if I lose my signal, I'll go back onto photograph, but it should be all right.
Good.
It's wonderful to see you, and just put face to names, Chantel, too. And so with this today, the best way to really get the point across in terms of the replay is to just kind of make sure that people understand why we're doing this as part of the reason for asking the questions.
The biggest part of why we're doing this is because treason has been committed.
Yeah.
And the other thing we're doing the notices is we're telling the police to do their job, go investigate the crimes that have been committed. And that FCO 30/1048 is a big one. Yeah. So definitely we're informing and educating them from a system that was taken away from them too. Yeah. So treason is a clause that was invoked. And so we're doing our job by standing under oath, lawfully under oath, and then declaring our standing to the police and the courts, and then collecting the evidence.
Yeah.
And then we're going to press for redress. So again, the 3 C's is like at first when we started in the units, it's not in there. We have the oath, and then we have declare your standing to the police and the courts. But now when we're doing the groundwork, Jackie has put it forward that we do the 3 C's. So we do the oath and the 3 C of cops, courts, and councils, because the council is your level where you're at, and that's where the corruption comes down to you. They may have it at the federal level and then provincial and so on, but your local level is the one that's going to be pushing for some of these mandates that they're trying to put forward. Yeah. So, and we could see it like in our little town, there was no mask. I've done everything that I could to do it, but it came in from provincial, and then the local council decided to agree with it. And now we have acts and statutes that are being pushed on the people that we need to really make a stand if we want our freedom back.
Well, it's not even just about freedom. It's just like there are business owners that are going to lose their business. It's like
that is the plan. That is the plan. The big plan is, like Jackie will mention it, is that NW other letter, like right? And that's what it is. And so we can't be naive about it anymore. We woke up to the full-fledged war, and it's with pen that we're going to redress. So, because they know they sit behind in the wall with stacks of paper,
Marietta, can I just
and they said, what was that?
Marietta, can I just ask, do you have?
Oh, you cut out.
So I was going to ask, is there a few of you? Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep. Are you in a group? Is there a few of you giving notices, or is it?
Yeah, we have a couple of friends that were connected here, like my friend down here who's joined us today. She's in a different county, and we know some in different areas, hamlets and in the city and so on. Yeah, but there's a couple of us who are united.
I think that's the problem, is that I'm in a little group in Bristol, and we all did the first 2 to the police and to the magistrates, and we haven't done the council because that wasn't on the step, but you're quite right, the council. But then the other people are sort of, they haven't committed to sending them off, because there's something a bit scary about sending them off. Yeah.
What's more
scared
about doing that?
So you get it, you get sick.
Well, I suppose because their name and address is going to the police. But as I say to them, you're not saying that we're going to be rebels. You're actually saying it's educating, isn't it? And the whole point of it is that more people that do it, the more people that do it, the more educated they're going to get. Especially if they're all ending up with the chief of police, because you want so many landing on his desk that he has to dish them out and share them around and show them off and discuss them. But if you're only going to get one every now and again, that's the trouble. And it's this thing about sending your name and address to the police that people seem to, it's all too scary. And I do understand that.
You start following Facebook and see what they advertise. They follow you everywhere. Yeah, they're sponsored ads and everything else. So what have you got to fear? You're lawful, you're standing lawfully. They should be happy and blessed that you have the 4 tenets to do, like do no harm, cause no loss, commit no fraud, keep the peace. They should be like, woohoo, we got one on our side.
Mhm.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
got 2 on our sides. We got 3. We got 5. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I have a question about cops. I actually just got pulled over today and was handed a speeding ticket.
Well, did you record it?
No, I didn't.
And did you use your caution card?
No, I didn't do any of it because I was like, oh, I don't want to start an
Proby,
argument right now.
Proby.
So
You
I
should have. Yeah, because now what are you going to do? Pay the fine or send it to
that's what I was going to ask. What can I do? Because I didn't, sign anything. I did take the ticket.
Yeah, so you went into contract with him.
Yeah, okay. Is that?
Yeah. Did you give your driver's license and registration?
Yeah.
So in that situation, what
Yes,
is
please.
someone standing under Article 61 meant to do?
Okay, so if once you're standing under Article 61, the minute he came to your window, you would have showed him the caution card. You would have gotten your camera, start recording it, read the caution card, and because the speeding ticket is an act or a statute.
Yeah.
There are no acts and statutes right now. They're null and void. There is one law, Article 61, treason clause. So now you got paperwork to do.
Okay.
So by saying nothing, now that, okay, so you're under oath,
Yeah.
you sent your first notice to the police, you declared your standing to the police?
Yes.
Did they
Yeah.
receive it yet?
No, you don't think they have?
Maybe.
You have to double check.
I need to look at the tracking numbers because I've
Yeah,
got.
and next thing you're going to want to do is put them on conditional acceptance. You're not saying you're not going to pay the ticket, but they need to prove Article 61 is it, well, we know Article 61 has been invoked, so they need to prove it has not. Therefore, then you would pay your ticket. Otherwise, you don't pay the ticket. You got more paperwork now.
Awesome. Yeah, I knew that I could, and I was like, I don't know what to do in this moment.
Well,
I don't
let's do a little practice then. Okay. Blurb, 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 blurb. Chantal. You've been
So,
talking. Driver's license registration, please.
so then at that point, I give them my caution card, and I should be videoing it.
Yeah, and you're shaking your boots and you do it. Yeah, you do it.
Yeah.
Where's your card?
I don't. Yeah, I did print it out.
Oh,
but
don't let Jackie hear all this.
Yeah,
We're
I wasn't prepared.
only as strong as the law, as we know it, right? So you're standing under oath. You're not committing a crime. What he gave you was a ticket, which is an act in a statute.
Yeah, but so even
And
though
that
I
was your
was,
money.
even though I
Only
was
a few
speaking,
criminals. Yeah, you were. Well, we can do things. Were you harming anybody? Was there a lot of
No.
people where you were?
No.
Was it
And he
dangerous?
also threw at me that he could be giving me a $800 ticket for breaking the.
Whoa! I wish I was there.
For
I
breaking
wish you were there as well. Yeah, he threatened me with another ticket.
You need to
the-
record. Yeah, get your camera ready, you guys. Start practicing.
Yeah.
Before I go into a store, my camera
Yeah,
is
me
being
too.
recorded. Yeah. I start
Me too.
recording, so if any conversation comes about, I'm already on there.
Yeah.
Get your phone, and
Yep.
the minute they come in, you go and you start plug it in. You just gotta go and start recording. And it doesn't matter if nothing comes on. If nothing comes on, then bonus. But the minute it's on, you're live.
Okay, I want to say something also.
Yep.
It's okay, Chantel, because we're all going to be scared and shaking in our boots, that's for sure. And so we just need to practice. And your first time practicing with your caution card, you're not going to get it all right. You're just not. But it's like each time it happens and each time we apply it, we're going to feel better and more secure in what we know.
Yeah.
And what we, to apply the law, really. So
Yeah.
so really, like Elise said, you just have to start with the conditional acceptance
Okay.
process, which is 5 notice process.
Just receive the first
Your
one.
first letter is just going to be the conditional one, right? So, people can help you get started on that little
Okay.
You have a little more
process.
paperwork to do now.
Yeah.
Darn it.
I know.
Son of a buzzer.
Lesson learned.
Get your camera and get your caution card and put it on top of your visor. So the minute you know it's coming,
Okay.
bang, bang, train yourself. You and Chata, you and Laura, practice it together. Joyce and I did it. We're shaking our boots just practicing to ourselves.
Yeah, Laura, we're gonna have to role play.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
It becomes, well, how do you think they do it in the military?
Yeah, well, exactly. I guess
Train,
so.
train. So when it happens, you're already in the mode.
Yeah.
So the second time, if I were to be pulled over, I'd probably be a little more assertive.
Yes, I will try that.
wouldn't-
I honestly didn't want to
fumble as much as I did.
I didn't want to make a scene in front of my kids. I had both of them and I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm supposed to say. And I don't want to.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Well, get that card going and get your camera and get your kids to record
Or,
it.
or slow the heck down, girl.
Do that as well.
We all do it. We all do it at one time or another.
Yes. Well, thank you.
So one question I suspect people are going to have that I think we should definitely speak more into today, but we can bring it up in other meetings as well, is about taxes. A lot, tax season is coming, and so under Article 61, because the government is being treasonous, that is something that I would love for input into as to, I've always paid my taxes. I've always done what I'm supposed to do. I've always been a lawful citizen, but ultimately it's not about citizenship. It's about.
Citizen is a slave, yeah. You don't
Yeah.
want to be a citizen. You want to be a sovereign man or woman, yeah.
Exactly.
Ideally on taxes here, once Article 61 has been invoked, we're supposed to do everything we can to bring back redress faster. So some of the, taxes and things like that should be, it's hard for some people to do, but others have done like with the town council taxes and stuff for sure. But Jackie's going to be the one who's going to have to answer that one better. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a Jackie question.
Yeah. Well, Jackie was supposed to be on tonight, so I don't know what happened there, but
I'm asleep, who knows, right?
Yeah.
7 hours different, is it?
5.
Okay, she's
Well,
5.
7 for Calgary, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be that. But definitely once, because if you read Article 61, it says in there what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe we're going to have to read it. Do you have it handy or
On the computer.
on the computer? I should have it here too. Yeah. That might be something we want to read because, the more we know, the more we know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can find mine.
Read the constitutional.
We could read the card too, so we could practice on that for a minute too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just pull up the Practical Lawful Dissent group, UK, Canada, and Commonwealth. And if you want, I can share the screen.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay. And that would be under, so you can find it under the general topics.
Tools. Yeah. General topics and look for tools or what's the one word she's
Protection
using?
tools.
Yep, that one.
Okay, so you can get the caution card there and then the constitutional caution card. So this is what we would print off.
Yep.
Then when an officer comes to our windows, then we are already recording and we say, I must caution you, whereas I stand under Article 61 of Magna Carta 1215, which was invoked in March 2001. According to constitutional protocols, any attempt to enforce unlawful acts, statutes, or legislative laws on myself will be taken as an act of high treason, for which you will stand trial before a jury of the people and which still carries the gallows. I urge you to consider Nuremberg. I was just doing my job as no defense as evidenced at those trials. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, maxim in law. Anything you say or any action taken by you against myself will be used before the jury. To deny constitutional law is sedition at common law and carries full asset stripping and life in prison. Do you understand?
There you go.
So this puts them personally on notice, which is the difference, because tribally people have been absconding personal responsibility for the sake of that tribal belonging. And as an officer of the law, your job has we've thought that the job protects us, or as a government official we thought that the job protects us personally, but it doesn't. And this is what people need to be reminded of. Just because you are being paid to execute an order, which could eventually even involve a person, we have to understand that you, the individual that is doing that, is going to be the one that gets held personally responsible, even if it is the job. So making sure that they're aware and that we have this card on us will allow us to be ready when they come. Is there anything else?
Definitely practice it. Like I sat one morning just repeating and repeating till I could get most of it, and then the odd time I still lose a word. But the more you practice it, it becomes second nature, and you're asserting the law. You're asserting the law that you know what's going on. They can't pull the wool over your eyes on this one. Yeah, go get after the real criminals, the ones that are committing treason, high treason. Yep. So acts and statutes, they're null and void right now. As long as Article 61's been invoked, we have one law, one rule. We're going for redress. We're going for, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Jackie used it here. Rule of law. We're going for the rule of law. We want back what was ours, and we don't want to be ruled. We want to be governed. And we're telling you work for us, and they need to know that. So, yeah. Kind of neat when you know what the law is, huh?
What is the difference between, what did you just say, between governed and ruled? What is the difference between being governed and ruled?
Okay, so when the Queen took the oath, she made an oath to God to govern the people according to our laws. So Albert the Great was the last one who actually followed that governing part. He would send his people to the lands where the others are, and they would have their common law rules, and they would obey that. They would actually follow that. So now that we're not being governed, we're being ruled. Like we're not telling the government what to do. They're telling us what to do. So it's been reversed. So we need to reverse it backward. They work for us. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law, not even king. No parliament can be sovereign. No government can, like enforce acts and statute as long as Article 61's been invoked also. And voting, there's no voting when Article 61's been invoked. And they're talking elections already. So in Canada here, no voting.
So yeah, and understand it, because that would be aiding and abetting if we
Well,
actually.
not just that, you're admitting that there's a government that's there, but it's not a government that's lawful. It's criminals basically acting as your government, because since Article 61 has been invoked 2001, it deposed the monarch. She got fired, and so did all of her governments, because she's head of states of the governments throughout the Commonwealth. So they lost their jobs. They're not even supposed to be there. So who is it that's there? On the federal, provincial, municipal, local level, who is it that's there that is forcing people with these acts and statutes? They sit behind in their door, act and statute. They're stripping away at every little bit. We just need to know it. So why would you vote for somebody who's been deposed?
In terms of the US, because that too falls under this as well.
They fall under Article 61 because they too were part of the Commonwealth at one time. So whatever they're doing and whoever's there is committing treason, they're supposed to be under Article 61. One rule, one law.
And with a lot of people talking about what's going to become the Republic of America, how does that work if people are talking about how, Trump and his team are going to save everybody with...
It's smokes and screens. You don't count on one man, you count on you and God.
Yep.
You don't put your whole trust on one man. Like he's leading you right one way to what they're trying to do. They have an agenda they want to follow. It's all part of the agenda. Ask Jackie. Jackie will come on and she'll set it straight. Yeah, they're all supposed to be under Article 61. So we can end this.
Do you not think they're under military rule at the moment, Marietta? Do you not think they're under
military rule or not? Article 61 is the only law in effect. You either are on You either follow the law or you're aiding and abetting the regime. There's only one law.
I think the problem is that we haven't got common law courts. We haven't got enough people because
We
there's
can't
got
get it
to
until
be
we get redress. Yeah, we can't get it till we have redress.
no.
So we
We
need
need
to redress, take
big
back what's
numbers.
ours. Yeah, and put things back in perspective again, where we have hired the government to do their job. It's a job that they have to do. Yeah, pretty serious right now, and everybody seems to follow one way. You know, the little sheeps are going to go, oh, all of these little rules and laws, these acts and statutes, they follow it, but you're either under Article 61, standing lawfully under the oath and constitutional law, or you're aiding and abetting the regime. So you tell me, which side is he standing on? Is he under oath of Article 61?
Hmm.
And if he's not, then what side is he on? I just learned that too, you know? Shocking.
That's
One-
true. There's just a lot of different common law court groups at the moment, aren't there? Common law groups,
It
and you
may
know,
come in handy at one time, but they, unless they have Article 61 in their group too, what are they on?
what do you think of Christopher James then, who's Canadian?
Under Article 61?
He's not. No, he doesn't. He says that
Can't
he
answer
wasn't.
for him. Yeah, I can't answer for him, but we're all told that once Article 61, Magna Carta 1215 has been invoked, everybody throughout the realm is supposed to stand under it. I don't want to be answering for them.
Well, I think we certainly need to get out of statutory. We definitely need to get out of statutory law and get into common law. But the trouble is that at the moment there's so many different groups that aren't uniting. We haven't got the numbers for redress. I
Divide
don't
and
think we
conquer. Yeah. But they fear unity. So, you know, like we'll start it. And who knows what will happen after? Somebody's going to have to come and help again, right? Because a lot of people don't know about it. But once you know about it and you do nothing about it, now that's totally different. That's how I got to stymie.
Yeah.
Once I figured out that once the oath has been invoked, we're supposed to stand lawfully on that side. Well, which side do you want to be, with the law or outlawry, right? So I choose to be on the right side of the law. And then the more you learn about it, the more you're going, well, thank goodness I am under Article 61. Thank goodness I changed my oath of allegiance from corrupt system, admiral law, and everything else that comes with that to constitutional law. I didn't even know about constitutional law. I was too busy with life. But constitutional law is freaking nice to know we have. That's all I know. Yep.
That's the problem with the society that we've created, where it's all piecemeal and everybody only knows their little piece of the puzzle and what part of the whole unit they're supposed to do. And kids are grown and kids are raised what to think, not how to think. And so they just follow. And now, especially with the amount of stress these kids are under, because of how their parents are imposing rules that are imposed upon their parents. So then children are growing up to feel like we are powerless. They are even more powerless. And then those little ones that ingrain that belief system into their minds at this formative age grow up into the citizens that are supposed to rule this place? I don't think so. We need to do a serious campaign
That's
for
what
the youth.
we're working for.
Yeah, this is about we have to responsibly parent ourselves in order to actually become the example. Because when I was working at the grocery store, I cannot tell you how many kids came through. Like, kids are afraid. If you ask the kid a question, they look at their parent. Can I answer that? Is it okay to talk to her? Is it okay to give this answer? Or they give me the answer and then they look for approval that it was okay or good enough from either me or their parent. And it's just I want to say shameful, though that's maybe not the right language for it, in terms of how we have allowed our culture to progress. And right now, as women, it keeps being the women that are coming to these meetings and the women that are standing up, because as the Hopi tradition says, it's going to be the Western woman that actually steps up and changes this. Because I've come to the belief that men marry mothers. They and it's like that whole she's the boss, and it isn't to say it's right, but it's just there's so many people. It's just like they're so focused, like the men are focused on earning and women are focused on earning, and then you've got the kids and you've got all these things, but it's just like everybody's, it seems, looking to the mother that can help keep things in order And maybe symbolically it's connected to the fact that we've had the queen as the monarch for all these years, so you look to the mother that way. Or the men are the ones that are traditionally the hunter-gatherers that are out away most of the time, and the women are the ones that run the home fort.
The women run the tribes.
Yeah.
The
But the
old
men
ones
are
don't.
different now anyway. The men are different now. They masculinized. They're not the powerful men of 50 years ago who wouldn't have put up with this. They'd be out saying, no, this isn't right for our families. You know, they've been dumbed down with devices and smartphones and their heads in with their earphones in, and it's almost like these lockdowns, it suits them. It just, and furlough suits them. There's no sort of feeling that they've got their families to protect, they've got their rights which are being taken away from them. They've kind of lost that bite, and we've had to take that up. And all the sort of gatherings of the marches, the protests, it's female predominantly. It's very worrying, really, but yeah, it's
Well,
matriarch.
there's so much hormone inhibitors in everything. Even the receipts you get at the grocery store, most of them have hormone inhibitors that when we actually touch those receipts, they go into the bloodstream within 15 seconds. Soup cans, the linings of them, they release hormones into the soups. Campbell's soups, for instance, have hormone inhibitors lined into the cans. And you look at the chemtrails are above us and people say, oh, those are nothing, and it's just like, excuse me, that's dropping nanoparticles that turn us into the antennas that then become connected to the cloud, which is ultimately the intention of all of this. And it's just like we the women need to step up in order to help the men do their part too. And there are many men doing their part. So please don't who are watching this take this as a slamming down men, because that's not what this is about at all. We're just saying, men,
No.
we need you. We can't do it on our own. We're just doing the best that we can. So please don't take that as an offense or that as belittling men in any way. It's just to say, like, we need men, not guys.
Yeah, well, it'll happen. It's starting to happen. Like
I mean,
Jack,
the men we've got are brilliant. We've got some brilliant men.
yeah. Only need one to
We
make
have
it.
got some great men on board. We've got some great role models on.
Oh, we had a good one. David was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In terms of today, is there anything we who are here would like to ensure is mentioned or brought forward as a question?
Well, mine would be like, know your rights, like assert the law. The law is only as strong as powerful as you are. So if we need to learn, like, what is Article 61? Why was it invoked, and what happens when that happens? What are our unalienable rights? Inalienable rights. And like, get to learn some of the basics again that makes us more who we are. So definitely reading, like David's got an article on explaining what Article 61 is all about. So that's one that we could look into, maybe do some homework, and next week come back and do some more stuff. So hold us accountable to doing some stuff too, because treason is being committed.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to step it up another notch here and figure out who's going to be helping out. Like in each province where we're at in Canada, we've got 10 provinces, 3 territories.
Mm-hmm.
Who's who?
Mm-hmm.
Are we connecting?
I feel like
we need to connect. We need to make sure we have connections throughout the whole country, from coast to coast, basically. Yeah. And get educated again, because if they're talking elections, we need to be able to say there's no voting right now because Article 61's been invoked. How many of us can say that if somebody says there's voting and they're all in gung-ho for that? How many people know the caution card by heart? How many know some of your inalienable rights? Like we have the right to travel free. Chantal getting stopped. Why did you stop me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it dangerous, causing harm to anybody? Did you break the 4 tenets? Did you break the 4 tenets? Do no harm, cause no loss, commit no fraud, keep the peace?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I wasn't causing any trouble.
Yeah, no. So yeah, so go do your job and get after the real criminals. Yep.
Yeah.
But again, like until we know we can assert the law, it's a different story. So, yep. Next time you'll be ready.
I hope there's no next time.
If there is a next time, be ready for it, right? Like
Yes.
definitely, yeah. Let's just get that camera going. Don't speed, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you want to speed, make sure nobody catches you.
It's pretty difficult in England not to get speeding fines because they change the speeds very
Oh.
regularly on the roads.
Wow.
And I don't mean to be paranoid, but I kind of think they're setting us all up to lose our licenses pretty quick. I mean, you only have to have 4 cautions now, and you'll lose, 12 points is gone. So if you've got signs on the road that are going 40, 50, 30, 40, and you've got to keep on that, and they're going to catch you with a camera, it is, I do think that's probably happening. So just have to be one step ahead all the time.
Well, we're ahead of them with a caution card, so they need to prove it.
Yes.
Mhm.
A good test, isn't it?
Yep. Use it.
Well, in England and we have them in Canada as well with the traffic lights where they're the traffic cameras. That's where then they post it out. So what do you do if you get a letter in the post that says they caught your vehicle and it's you that was driving and it wasn't an officer that stopped you? What then? Because that would be what Megan's referring to.
Was that a question for me? Sorry.
Yeah, you're not going to come face to face with them. You'll have a letter through the post on a
Okay,
camera
then
that's
you
got your
could-
number plate.
Yeah, it'd be conditional acceptance. You have to be under oath. You have to declare your standing to the police and the court, and they have to have received the first one before you can start the conditional acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
that's okay.
pay it. You would tell them they need to prove, that there's only one Article 61 that's invoked. So until that is there, there's no acts and statutes that they can enforce. You're under Article 61 and that's it. Yep. Go collect the treason. Yep.
What do you think happens at the other end? Because the chances are very rare that the personnel that picks that up will have heard of Article 61 being used, or Magna Carta even. They might not even be aware of anything about it.
They're going to read it, and that's what you're doing is you're informing and educating them at the same time to get on the right side of the law too. So you're actually helping them get educated. So the more we put on notice, the more education is going out there.
So for somebody that works as a police officer, for instance, that is then put on notice and wasn't aware of Article 61 before, but now is, and doesn't have the luxury of giving up their job in order to be fully lawful. What do we say for the people that don't feel like they have the ability to stand under this lawful under Article 61 being lawful when they have physical needs that are being supplied by the treasonous regimes, essentially?
When they get informed, see, there's two things that I can think of from a little bit of the learning that I've done there is that once you learn about Article 61, you do the same thing as what we're doing. You get under oath, you declare your standing, and then you follow through yourself. The other one is that they have to go and work, but they are part of the silent majority. So they need to, like Jackie is aware of that too. We know, and they have to make a stand too. But don't go committing crime. Don't follow the law too. Stand under oath. Do the best you can, because a lot of them don't have a choice right now too, because some of them are corrupted in the system. That's why you see those videos that show where they're doing all awful things. Not everybody's going to be a good cop, right? There's good cops, bad cops. Yeah. But once you are informed about Article 61, you're supposed to stand under oath on it too. But depending on where you're at, that's another question Jackie can answer better. But as far as I know, that's what it would be, is it would become the silent majority. They still want it, but they can't stand up right now. So I'm not sure if they do sign the oath. I'm not sure.
They
Yeah, well,
probably They probably do it. I don't know. I haven't read or stumbled upon what they actually do, but they are called the silent majority for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
So it doesn't, yeah,
because we need the police on our
because
side,
really,
right?
how do you protect yourself if you're an RCMP officer against the rest of the regime if you actually, take your standing? So they do have to be silent. Yeah, because it'll affect their life for
Mhm.
sure.
Well, how can they? So essentially, they can only really sign the oath because if they put their office, if they put
To
Don't have
themselves.
that, Jackie.
on notice, then they're
Mhm.
putting their boss on notice. And how can they fulfill their role and responsibilities when you've got a quota for how many speeding tickets you got to give out as a police officer, from my understanding, and there's things that are money generators that are not lawful but that are legal, and their expectations for the job. So it's just like,
Yeah.
That's another reason why you see that post-traumatic stress disorder is high amongst the police officers, because they didn't sign up for a job that was helping the regime. They signed up for a job to make the law stand for the people. But they see what's going on, so they've got the revolving door that's going on, and yeah, so a lot of them are going like the PTSD, and it's pretty high with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
It'd be
we
a
people,
it'd be a really good question to ask Jackie what they actually do. Just, just to think about it, they probably would just do the oath. I'm just guessing. I don't know how they do it. Take the oath to them, oath to self sort of deal. Or they could probably do one and mail it to, Lord Craigmile also, because
it's
they
still
won't
better
be.
to mail it.
Mhm.
pardon?
Either to themselves, you can do an oath to self and mail it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they suggest that we do the one they owe to the Baron, because then the regime can't come against us and say you just did it to yourself.
Yes, I understand that. I do understand
So
that.
number one would be,
About, we're talking about the RCMP here. So,
yeah, well, still same with them too, right?
well, depends
But
on, like how they feel, how safe they feel.
yeah, well, write that down, Laura. That's a good question for Jackie for sure. That one on, do they make a note to self or a note to the Baron, or yeah, that'd be a good question.
I suppose while they're at work, they have a choice how they behave, and we
Yeah.
see a lot of really appalling behaviour of the police towards the public. Um, so they have a choice whether they how kind they are and how humane they are and how they treat their fellow citizens. Really, some of them are just acting like so brutally at the moment that they don't have to be like that, and they can still show kindness as well as uphold their job as public servants under us as well. So and they can show that example to others. It's not. I think a lot of them are off sick at the moment. So we may just be seeing the sort of the ones that are totally have so little self awareness to what they're coming over as.
It's with all the training. This is all part of the socializing process with getting people. It's like, why is it not okay to watch somebody making love? Well, not that we want to, but like in a movie, for instance, like it's, cover the kids' eyes if somebody is going to kiss or go further. But if they're going to get their head blown apart, that's totally okay. How is that even part of the? And then if you apply that then to the people that are upholding these laws, you see the brutality there. But if you're playing the video games and you grew up playing those video games and it's just a target, it's just an assignment, it's very much
Desensitize.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they're working for.
Yeah.
Then throughout the centuries, but like in the 50s, what the movies were like, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and so on, and like they're desensitizing the people, and even with those, the love hacks and stuff like that, it's changed over the time and what they're doing, and it's more like sometimes you would think it's more barbaric, but they're setting it up, and it's up to us to wake up and just say no. We know when you talk on to your true self, You know what's right and you know what's wrong.
Mhm.
We're born with that.
Mhm.
So if you leave the TV on, chances are you might get a little bit of sidetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they've done it on purpose. It's right in front of our eyes too. They tell us everything's there.
Mhm.
So trust yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what this is about. We have to come back to our understanding of who and whose we are in order to actually restore order to the realm and to change the rulers from the treasonous ones over to what will actually serve us all and our future. Because right
Yeah.
now there's only 60 years left of sustainable farmland. And then
According to who?
there's a documentary called
Right.
The Need to Grow
Yeah.
that says
I
60
don't know.
years is pretty much the way that we are currently farming, because like there's very little care for the fields, and it's
Canada is 80% crown land.
80% crown land.
Yeah. So I wouldn't trust what's coming out from there. You can't even trust that there are dinosaurs, period. Let's put it that way.
There are what?
There could be no dinosaurs. Somebody told us that there are.
Yeah.
Who did?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, right? Did they, is it, where's it coming from? Who's
Those
telling us?
fossils lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as coming from a farming family, and you know,
Mhm.
the way that the way that the lands, if they're not cared for properly, which all the amount of pesticides and everything else that's being sprayed on the lands, you know, that's from a sustainability perspective, it's not sustainable to spray Roundup as part of the seeds and expect that the soil's not going to be impacted,
Yeah.
that we're not impacted and all of that. So like it's time for a revolution. It's just this seems to be the best way to get it. It just is like, okay, how do we get more people? And what I was interrupting a couple times there earlier is just, I feel like the business owners, it's just like right now it's just like, if we can actually get business owners on board, because business owners are going to lose their businesses. That's the point of all of this. We already all know that, and I'm sure they can see it, but there's so many of them just, you know, trying to keep a house and a roof over their kids and keep the business that they, you know, I was talking to a business owner yesterday. She's like, I got 3 kids and I gotta try. So I've just gotta play by the rules. And it's just like, okay, so how do we do this? And the how is the ego wanting to know the answer. So
Yeah, but the answer is easy. Either you're under Article 61 or you're not. Follow their rules is aiding and abetting the regime. So which side are you on? That's what they need to know. Yeah.
yeah.
They need to stand under Article 61, constitutional law, and then press for redress like the rest of us are. You know what? Like under your unalienable or inalienable rights, you have a right to work. You have a right to a roof over your head. You have a right to food. You have the right to go into contract, out of contract. You have a right to get married. You have a right to travel anytime you want. So who's doing what? So, yep, we need to get back under Article 61, and you can practice all those. You have a right to go to work. But we have the tools to help you under Article 61. You're changing jurisdiction. You're going from admiral law to constitutional law, and you have a right to do your business. You have to, you know, like your form that says this is common law jurisdiction only. So the police are not allowed to go in there unless they're under oath themselves.
Into the
It's
court.
already there. It's already written what we have to do. It's everybody needs to stand under Article 61, Magna Carta 1215. One law. The rest are aiding and abetting the regime without some of them knowing, and some of them refusing to because of the fear. But the soul knows no fear. We need to go back there. The soul knows no fear. And that's what we're all about.
I think when people really lose their money, at the moment we have furlough payments here, and of course it's not backed by anything substantial, but it provides people with a feeling that they're being paid to stay at home, or their staff are. But when people really get short, that's when the time that they'll realize there is nothing to lose. but they're comfortable. People are still comfortable at home. They are in this country, and they're believing that the virus will go away, and they'll be told that if they can take the masks off and go back to work and all will be well, and they've just had a year off. They're still in that mindset.
Yeah,
And for the ones that are awake are just they're a bit on their own. I mean, we had the great reopening day, 30th of January, but nobody came out in my town. A lot of that was to do with there are shops open at the moment, food shops. So actually there are a lot of shops open, but they're all doing takeaway food services. So actually a little business on their own wouldn't stand out enough, but on the other hand, they'd have the police round straight away, and it takes courage that they haven't got at the moment. Even though there are lots that say we will support you, we'll come and we'll come and use your business, it's still got that fear factor. But when they've got everything to lose, I think at that point we'll see more.
Well, it's just I feel like in the society that we're living in right now, we have been trained to directly tie our self-esteem to our bank account. And people are comfortable until they're not. And then when they get to that threshold, offing themselves or turning to, the opiate addiction and the overdosing around here is pretty crazy. And it's just like they just go to the escapism that then takes them out, or else just weakens them further. And this is all an attack on the self-esteem. So this really needs to be a project for increasing self-esteem in order for people to be able to take at that stand, to be able to discern their own voice of intuition, to know when they feel truth and when they feel untruth, and then be able to make their decisions that way. So this is more than about just this is more than about just Article 61. This is about the whole paradigm connected to all of it, that we really need to strengthen people so they have a foundation, because Article 61 can be the foundation, but at the same time, the self-confidence and the self-image and the self-esteem underneath of that very much needs to be addressed as well. Marietta?
it's all part of it. Once you learn what Article 61 is all about, and once you learn your rights and your freedoms and everything else, the confidence comes. And how many other people you've seen throughout this time that since this started, and when they found out about Article 61, give them the hope that they needed. That's the answer. That's your answer is Article 61. Go collect the treason evidence. Let's press for that redress button. Be ready when the call of action comes, and just go do it. Remember, the soul knows no fear. Faith over fear. Yeah. It's all to do with a lot of personal growth, for sure. But again, that little push on which side you want to be on is a good little kick in the bum, right? Either you're for Article 61 or you're against it. It's one or the other. Yeah.
There's no fence riding. So in terms of today, we'll wrap up our meeting for today, unless there's anything else anyone wants to say before the end. We're good. Okay. And we'll come together again next week at the same time, 4:00 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. That's when we, who are lawfully standing under Article 61 of the 1215 Magna Carta, come together. So we hope that you will join us next time. And any questions that you may have as you're watching the replay, please bring those to the Practical Lawful Dissent group. You can access that right here. Go to Practical Lawful Dissent. I'm just trying to get that off. This group right here. You will find information. David Robinson gave 20 years of his life to collect the information that is available under the units. So please do your homework by going through, starting with step 1, taking the oath, and join us next week at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday so that we can go deeper into where you're at and help you have the confidence to stand as the sovereign being that you are. Thank you for coming out, everyone. You're amazing.
Thank you.